You know that feeling, right? That nagging sense that your life is just jam-packed, but somehow not quite whole. I mean, we're all busy, but are we actually balanced? Well, today we're going to dive into something called the H5 Life Balance Framework. It's a system designed to tackle that exact question.
You know, it often kicks off with this quiet, persistent thought, doesn't it? There has to be more. You look at all the different parts of your life, your work, family, health, maybe your spiritual side, and it just feels like they're all separate, competing for your time. You're doing all the things, you're checking all the boxes, but that feeling that you're missing the bigger picture, that's a huge sign that the gears of your life just aren't meshing.
And this right here gets to the absolute heart of it. You crush it in one area and another one just falls by the wayside. It always happens. Maybe your career is soaring, but your health's on the back burner. Or, your family life is amazing, but you feel this kind of spiritual emptiness. It's like you're constantly juggling, right? And the key thing to get here is, this isn't because you're not trying hard enough. It's about a lack of alignment.
Okay, so how do we get out of that rut, How do we move from just reacting to everything life throws at us to actually living with intention? Well, that's what we're talking about now, the search for balance. It's all about finding a better way, a system that can help us finally connect all those dots.
And that guide, that system, is the H5 Life Balance Framework. Now look, this isn't just some other self-help trend that's going to fade away. It's a proven system. It's designed to help you see your life as this whole, integrated machine, not just a messy collection of priorities all fighting for your attention.
So, how does it actually work? Well, the whole framework is built around this simple but really profound metaphor, the 5 interconnected gears of life. So let's break down what each of those gears really stands for.
All right, here they are, the 5 core areas that really make up a whole life. First up, you've got spiritual. That's your core, your inner faith and beliefs. Next is personal, which is all about your mindset and your physical health. Then comes family, the absolute heart of your relationships and your legacy. After that, we have income. And look, this isn't just about the money. It's about your vocation, how you manage what you have. And finally, there's community. That's how you connect with and serve the world around you.
Okay, now this is the most important part. These are not separate boxes you just check off a list. They are interlocking gears. Think about it. When you invest in your health, it absolutely impacts your work, right? When your family life is solid, that gives you the foundation to get involved in your community. When all these gears turn together in harmony, your life gets this incredible momentum. You start moving forward with a sense of peace and purpose that's just impossible to find when those gears are out of sync and just grinding against each other.
Okay, and what's really fascinating is just how deep this idea of harmony is baked into the framework. I mean, every single detail, right down to the colors they picked for each gear, is completely intentional. It's not just to make it look pretty. It's a whole visual language that reinforces what balance really means.
This table just lays it out so brilliantly. You can really see the thought that went into the design here. Just look at how the colors were chosen to communicate the whole vibe of each gear. Like that warm peach for the personal gear, that's all about vitality and growth. And the gentle rose for family, that just screams nurturing and connection, doesn't it? Each color is like this little subtle cue, constantly reminding you of the core purpose of that part of your life.
All right, one of the most powerful things about this framework is just how versatile it is. Seriously, it's not just for you to think about on your own. It actually lays out 3 different paths to purpose, showing you how it works for you as an individual, for you as a leader, and even for an entire organization.
So, let's kick things off with the first path, which honestly is where most of us begin, just applying this to our own lives. I mean, this contrast really says it all, doesn't it? You've got that tangled mess of stress and competing demands on one side, and then that clear, focused path to purpose on the other. So the big question is, how do we get there?
So on the one hand, you have the problem, just reacting to life. This is when you're constantly juggling priorities, you're making bits and pieces of progress here and there, and you're always letting important things slide. But then you look at the other side, and that's the goal, living intentionally. By actually using the H5 framework, you get that clarity. Your actions finally start to line up with your deepest values, and your life just finds this new, powerful kind of balance.
All right, now let's expand this out to the second path, the leader. And look, this could be anyone, a parent, a mentor, a manager at work. For anyone who has influence over others, personal balance isn't just a nice to have. It's the absolute foundation of the impact they have on other people.
I mean, a leader who's operating from a place of imbalance, they're just constantly putting out fires, Their impact is always going to be limited because they're stretched way too thin. But a leader who uses this framework, they build their legacy by design.
they lead by example, and they show everyone that when their own life is aligned, their values, their family, their purpose, their ability to build something that lasts just grows exponentially.
Okay, now let's zoom out even further, to the third path. What happens when an entire organization, we're talking a company, a church, a nonprofit, what happens when they bake this framework right into their culture? Well, the effect can be absolutely transformative.
Think about it. A fragmented culture suffers from rising burnout, engagement is all over the place, and the real vision just gets lost in the chaos of the day-to-day grind. But an organization that really champions the H5 framework, they build a thriving culture. You get people who are balanced and driven by purpose. Engagement just skyrockets, and that positive ripple effect, it's felt by the entire community they serve.
All right, so we've seen the problem, we've gone through the framework, and we've looked at how it can be applied. So now we get to the most important question of all. How do you actually start? How do you take this and put it into practice to get your own life aligned?
Well, the framework gives us a pretty simple 4-step plan to get the ball rolling. First, you've got to define your vision. And this absolutely has to start with your core, your spiritual and personal gears. Step 2, you align the other 3 gears, family, income, and community, with that core vision you just set. Once everything's aligned, step 3 is to execute. Take real, practical action steps. And finally, and this is so important, you have to revisit and refine it regularly, because life changes and your plan has to evolve right along with it.
And that is the key takeaway from all of this, right there. The H5 framework isn't just some abstract theory you read about and forget. It is a practical, hands-on tool for the real world. Think of it like a blueprint for genuine transformation. It's designed to take you from just surviving to actually thriving, from total chaos to crystal clarity.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question to kickstart your own journey. Just take a second and look at those 5 gears: spiritual, personal, family, income, and community. Which one of those is calling out for your attention right now? Because just being honest with yourself about that's the very first and maybe the most important step toward building a life that's truly balanced and aligned.